Executive Ed Romaine, Presiding Officer Kevin McCaffrey, Legislator Catherine Stark. We're going to have Tom Gouldsberry, who is the President of Long Island Limousine Association, Suffolk County Police Department Chief of Patrol Jerry Hardy, Charles Gandolfo, who's the Vice President of the Board of LILA, and then Joe Murata, who's also a board member.
And would you like to mention we're also joined by our Labor Commissioner, Deputy Labor Commissioner?
Oh, yes, we also have actually Legislator Tom Donnelly with us, and our Labor Commissioner, as well as our Consumer Affairs Commissioner, Wayne Rogers.
And our Deputy Labor Commissioner.
And our Deputy. Everybody's here, everyone.
Everybody's here.
All right, we're ready for you, sir.
We have a long list of people here today about an issue and a problem that we're looking to solve. And that problem has to do with unlicensed or unregulated limo and taxi drivers. People get into a car. If they're unlicensed, they don't know what they're getting into. If there's an accident or if there's something that goes wrong, they have no one they can file a complaint with. The most important thing is to ensure that you're getting in a vehicle that is licensed by the County of Suffolk. A licensed limo, licensed rideshare, something that is licensed that if there is a complaint, you have recourse. If you don't, things could go wrong and you have no recourse. That's the purpose of having a license. So I'm going to let, I could go on and on about this because they gave me a lot of things to talk about, but our concern is for the consumer of Suffolk County. This is a consumer protection press conference where we're trying to protect the consumer. It's like the building industry. You don't have a licensed builder and something goes wrong with your deck because you hired someone and he walks away with the money. There's nothing we can do as a government. You'll have to go to the courts and seek redress. But if they're licensed, we can suspend their license, we can fine them, we can go after them, we can require them. You have a middleman. The same is true with the limo. If you get into a limo and it's an unlicensed driver or rideshare and there's a complaint, your only redress is to hope for the courts. But if they're licensed, the Consumer Affairs Department and our Taxi and Limousine Bureau will get involved with that and act as your protector. That's what Consumer Affairs is all about. We are here to protect the consumer and the user. So I'll turn it over to our presiding officer, and there's a number of people that want to speak, and it's warm out, and I don't want to keep you guys here too long.
Thank you, County Executive, and thank you for putting this together today along with our Consumer Affairs Department. It is a pleasure to be here to put out these reminders about the importance of only taking rides in licensed limousines. And this includes not just the limousines, but the Sprinter vans and the excursions that happen out there. It's so very important. And why it's important to you is you may get a cheap price by not getting someone that's unlicensed, but I can tell you if that person is unlicensed or that limousine or Sprinter van is unlicensed, I bet you that they are underinsured as well. And if you have an opportunity where you get into an accident and something bad happens and you rely on that person's insurance or that company's insurance to pay for your injuries or the damage to any vehicles that are caused, you are going to be on the hook for that, because I can guarantee you there'll be a gap in what you need for your coverage and what they're going to be providing. So it's my pleasure to be here, reinforce that idea of the importance of licensing limousines and the Sprinter vans and any excursion to go on. Make sure they have a license with our Consumer Affairs. You will have some recourse, and most importantly, you will not be underinsured in the event that there's an accident and there's liability in that case. So at this point, I want to turn it over to Legislator Catherine Stark.
I also want to thank Legislator Donnelly for joining us.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to join you today as Suffolk County Legislature, proudly representing the first legislative district, which includes 5 East End towns. I'm here to echo a critical message. When you travel, hire licensed operators. The East End is one of the beautiful regions in our county, especially during the summer months. From our world-class vineyards and charming inns and beaches and bustling main streets, thousands of visitors and residents alike will be traveling through our area and region this summer. With this increased activity comes increased responsibility. It's absolutely essential that we prioritize safety, and that starts with making informed choices about how to get from place to place. Licensed transportation providers are not just drivers, they are trained professionals. They are insured, regulated, and held to strict standards. They know the roads, they respect the laws, and they're accountable for your safety. Unfortunately, unlicensed operators continue to pose a real threat. They often lack training, insurance, and oversight necessary to protect passengers and others on the road. The consequences can be serious, from legal issues to real danger. As the legislator for the North Fork, I stand firmly with the Long Island Limousine Association in saying protect yourself, your family, your community. Always hire a licensed operator. It is more than compliance. It is about responsibility. It is about supporting legitimate local business, and most importantly, it's about keeping our roads and our people safe. As we welcome another vibrant summer season on the East End, let's do so with safety and peace of mind. Let it be the season of joy, discovery, and of good decisions. Thank you, and here's to a safe summer for all.
Thank you, legislator. And both the presiding officer and the legislator make excellent points. The key issue here is accountability. You want to get in a limo, rideshare, whatever, that is licensed, that has gone through all the safety checks, that the drivers know what they're doing. You don't want to get into a vehicle where if there's a problem, you have no recourse. So who is next on our list here? I think our Chief of Patrol, Jerry Hardy.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having us here today. I just want to reiterate what's been said. The goal here is safety. The police department's goal is safety. We want to keep everybody on our roadways safe this summer. So in an effort to do that, one of the things we will be doing this summer in force is going after illegal operators and owners of limousine companies. Limousines present unique safety challenges because they're modified vehicles, and these vehicles are usually modified in the interest of comfort and amenities. However, unfortunately, in some of these cases, it actually takes away from safety features of these vehicles, and it puts passengers and occupants at risk. We've seen, unfortunately, in recent years, the unfortunate tragedies that occur when one of these limousines gets into a crash. So we're imploring people this summer, if you are planning to hire a limousine company, that you do your due diligence and really do your homework. There are licensed operators out there. It's more expensive, as was already stated, but it's safety. And don't sacrifice money for safety. So go out there and make good decisions. We don't want to put people's lives at risk. So hire licensed limousine companies. Our police department has a motor carrier safety unit. That unit's comprised of 12 police officers and 2 sergeants. Those officers are highly trained in both federal and state regulations concerning commercial motor vehicles, which buses and limousines fall under. Last year actually, we did 150 compliance checks against limousines and buses. This year to date, we've done 115. Shockingly and alarmingly, some of the things that we're seeing in these checks is unlicensed operators, uninsured motor vehicles, vehicles with damaged frames, and inoperable safety exits. This is why it's so important to hire people that are being regulated and checked by the state. We're going to continue to do this enforcement this summer. As prom season, as wedding season starts to ramp up, people are going to be using our East End. Vehicles for hire are going to be in big demand. We ask that people do their homework and hire people that are going to get them to their destination safely.
Don't forget weddings.
Weddings, proms, all of that. So this is the big season for that. The East End has a lot of activities out there. The wineries, people go out, they use limousines, they use vehicles for hire the right people. We hope that by getting this message out and educating the public and providing greater oversight, that we'll be able to keep people safe this summer. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Now we're going to have the president of the Limousine Association. Come on up. Where is he? Up, there you are. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We met in our office. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I'd like to thank County Executive and the rest of our elected officials for being here this morning with us. What our purpose today is, do not hire illegal operators. What it comes down to is we want everybody licensed, to be professionals, not just somebody who wants to hop on an app and say that they're available to drive you. these mom pages, social media. Everybody's got somebody. I recommend Joe. I recommend this. Oh, my husband does that. They're not licensed. So if they're not licensed, that means they're not insured. They're driving around with plain old Allstate State Farm insurance instead of for hire insurance, which is $1 million to $1.5 million, and excess of up to $5 million. God forbid you're in with Joe, who's driving you for a discounted rate, and somebody on the Belt Parkway just taps them in the back. Next thing, who got hurt? Their back. You got no recourse at all. You're completely out of luck. So, if you do hire one of these people or a company that you're in doubt with, we have a board here.
Let's hold this up.
I'll get that, please. County Executive, that's my
So,
You can
here to the
explain.
right, we have what legal plates look like. The Suffolk County TLC with the red diamonds in the window. Nassau County has their own plate that says TLC on it. Any of these plates over here are completely legal. So when you walk out of your house in the morning with your suitcase and you're going to LaGuardia, JFK, wherever it may be, or even just for a night out on town to go on a wine tour, make sure this is what you're seeing over here.
Enter the C or Y or T.
Yep. Over here, absolutely not. This is a private plate, uninsured, for the type of hire that we're doing here. All we're looking for is safety and the public's awareness of what is really going on out there that they do not know, and we're trying to inform everybody of that. We thank you for your time, and please beware of what's out there.
And there's a reason we regulate these. It's called safety, accountability, and responsibility. So if you're going to take a limo where you have a licensed driver, you have an insured company, and you're protected if there's a problem, and you have a place you can go to issue a complaint. And I'm going to ask our commissioner if you want to come up and tell us what your bureau does, Consumer Affairs, under labor.
Well, we have 5 or 6 investigators right now, and in the
And
beginning,
we just agreed to two part-timers.
two more part-timers, and they're going to be out in the street, and they're going to be doing exactly what Eddie said. We're going to the wineries, we're going to the weddings, we're going to anybody that's got a limo, and we're going to be doing it on the weekend when everybody's out using the limos. We're doing the airports now. I think that the smartest thing anybody could do here is if you're going to get a limo, call us. Call the Labor Department, Consumer Affairs, and say, does Bobby Jones have a license? And we'll look it up right there, and there's no confusion over plates. You'll know if they're insured or not insured.
And you'll know if you're protected.
And then you'll know if you're really protected. Thank you.
Please.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for taking the time.
Joe,
My name is Charles Gandolfo,
Good to see you again.
Vice President of the Long Island Limo Association, owner of Dynasty Limousines in Babylon. I strongly suggest do not hire a gypsy type vehicle. What we're talking is regular sedans, SUVs, rides to the airport. I've seen personally many issues with accidents and stuff where that passenger gets hurt. You cannot sue. You could sue the owner that has no money. The insurance company denies the claim because they were never notified that they're doing a rideshare or
They're doing
regular
commercial operation.
commercial operation. Very important. What's the difference is every person that drives legal are drug tested annually. We're governed by Consumer Affairs. It's very, very important. Would you put your family member in a car with no insurance? Please don't take the risk to save $50 or $20, whatever it may be. You are asking for trouble. I've seen it personally many, many times, and it gets to be a major hardship. Thank you and have a good day.
Did you want to say something?
Ed, we're going to give that to Mike.
Thank you.
We have one last speaker yet.
Joe Murata from AccuSure. I am the broker that writes probably 95% of these type of vehicles on Long Island. couple of things that we really need to have an eye-opening experience with is any one of these vehicles back here, every one of them, every one of the operators here, every one of the licensed operators carry a minimum of $1 million or $1.5 million in liability. If one of your operators or one of your customers runs with a non-sanctioned or an illegal operator, the chances of them having $25,000 or $50,000 or $100,000 of liability is real. What does that mean to you? That means if there's an accident, these guys are covered at 1.5. An illegal operator is covered up to 25, 50, 100, whatever it might be.
Maybe because he's
Maybe,
right.
even if they have insurance.
Right.
Even if they have insurance. The other thing that Charlie touched on a little bit, there isn't a driver that doesn't come across my desk. When the driver comes across the desk, I'm looking at his MVR, I'm looking at his track record, and I'm looking at his experience. The carrier asks for an MVR, and it asks for a
MVR
sheet.
is, let them
A
know.
motor vehicle report, everybody knows what that's. An MVR is a motor vehicle report that gives a history of your driving record, gives you a history of driving record. On that will be your speeders, will be your seatbelt violations, and ultimately it'll also tell you whether or not you've had a DWI, okay, which is extremely important. On top of that, there's a sheet that's given to me that has all their experience. The insurance companies will not allow people to drive with no experience. So the goal is to have someone with 3 to 5 years experience. So that's very important, because now you got a guy with a license that is real. Then you have a guy with an insurance that is real. So you're covered across the board. Extremely important. A lot of these guys, I don't know, Tom, who was talking about the Babylon Mothers?
Right.
Yeah, the websites. They don't tell you whether or not there's proper insurance. They don't tell you if it's a properly insured, properly licensed vehicle. That's the other thing. See, so there's drivers, there's vehicle inspections, there's minimum age of vehicles. The minimum age of a vehicle usually is about 3 to 5 years. Then they ask to upgrade the vehicle. So those things are very important. The vehicles, the drivers, the insurance. All important aspects of trying to avoid an accident. Now, if there's an accident, guys, you want to make sure that you're covered properly. You want to make sure that an insurance company is behind you 100% with $1.5 million of availability. If you're with a non-licensed guy, you got $25,000 of liability.
If you have that.
If you have that.
And if you have a complaint, you have our Consumer Affairs Department, the Taxi and Limousine Commission here in the county of Suffolk that
True.
will investigate that.
Very, very true. Very, very true. The support of the government is extremely important. The support of the government is extremely important. We could only go so far. So what Mr. Romaine is saying is 100% accurate. Very, very important. Thank you.
Questions?
Yes.
You mentioned in the press release that there's been a rise in illegal transportation. Do you have an exact statistic about how many there have been as opposed to past years?
Well, the only thing I could say is it's a very difficult equation to come up with, because they fly under the radar screen so much you don't know who they are. But I could
They're
tell
constantly
you,
changing also.
constantly changing.
Constantly changing, unlicensed, unregulated, often uninsured or underinsured. Big problem for consumers. We're having this press conference because we care about the consumer of Suffolk County, and our job as a county government is try to protect the consumers of Suffolk County.
Anything else?
Where does Uber and Lyft fit into this?
Okay, New York.
Yep.
Let's go to the
Yep.
microphone.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, with Uber or Lyft, they will, wherever the sign is, they will have passenger plates if you're here in Suffolk County. That is, they have their own insurance, but there's a supplemental policy through Lyft or Uber. Now, the only thing with that is a Uber driver will show up. You put it on your app, he shows up. He drops you off. He'll reach in, hand you his own card, and say, call me. That right there, you're out of the game, because without the app, or your job on an app, you have no insurance. And if anything does happen, even no matter what his limits are on his personal car, they're going to deny it because it's for hire. It's a share ride.
Could I just add one thing to Uber and Lyft?
Yes.
I just said a couple of minutes ago that every one of these guys are really regulated by the insurance companies on the type of vehicles, the safety of the vehicles, the type of upkeep on the vehicles. There's no regulation on the Uber type vehicles. There's none. And let them tell me differently, but I know there's none. And the fact of the matter is, somebody could get off their couch, 4 o'clock, watching a jet loss, with a couple of beers. Well, it's usually a jet loss, isn't it?
It happens.
So, and I'm a Jet fan.
Don't talk about the Knicks either.
No. But he could get off his couch after having a couple of drinks, a couple of beers, watching a game, and he could pick you up at your house and go to JFK. Nobody regulates that. And that's scary.
Eddie,
That's the difference.
just want to add one thing.
Yeah,
Uber,
please.
Uber and Lyft do not come under our jurisdiction.
No, they do not.
They're a jurisdiction of the city.
Taxis and limos do.
Taxis and limos, but Uber and Lyft do not come under the CA.
I know there were a couple off topics, so give us a couple minutes and we'll do it afterwards. Okay, everyone?
Thank you all
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Very good. Thank you.
Nobody move. Everyone stay there, please.
Thank you.